Hello, Intro to Video students. I hope that you guys had an excellent weekend, and I hope that you were able to get started with our study of digital photography. Off to a smooth start would be great. So hopefully you were able to use a cell phone or a digital camera to take your pictures. If you weren't able to and you needed to just do pictures with a Chromebook, that's totally fine. I understand. If we were at school, you'd have access to DSLRs, but since we're working from home, we got to use the tools that we have. So I have a short video that I'm going to have in one of my slides. Please take a look at it if you're using a Chromebook for your pictures, and hopefully we can go that route. All right. So last week you guys created your photography bio as well as put your photos into Google Photos. It's really great to see the pictures you're coming in, lots of creative things, and it looks awesome. This week we're going to move on and we're going to do two different things. So if you took intro, actually what class was it last year? I can't remember. Maybe I did it in media arts. I can't remember, but you guys probably remember, but we did an alphabet photo hunt. So that is the assignment that we're going to do this week. Really, I like to do it just so that you can start looking at objects creatively and really start seeing shapes and forms in the things that you're taking pictures of. So a little bit different from last year. You're not going to have to do the entire alphabet. Instead, you're just going to take a picture of a series of letters, as many as you can find, and then we're going to use photopea, our photo editing kind of imitation Photoshop that we'll be using in order to put together that collage. So let me jump right over to the slides, and I think I can get there just by walking this way. All right, that was an easy walk. Here I am. Let's jump right into the slides. All right, hello everybody, and welcome back to Intro to Video Production. Now that I've made the long walk, I can get class started and welcome artists. So I'm going to show you this picture again. There it is. And I love this photo that I took last winter. Notice this is a golden hour photo. You don't get these colors at any time of the day other than right at sunset or right at sunrise. This is a sunset photo as I'm looking west. The sun is kind of setting over the West Hills there. Willamette Falls looks great. The reflections on the water I love. I love this spot too because the mix between nature and industry just kind of, it's a really interesting shot. So I love this spot. This is in Oregon City. You should go take pictures there sometime. Ask your parents if they can take you to the Willamette Falls overlook. I think it's called like the Oregon City Promenade or something like that. But it's a trail you can walk along, get some great shots. Okay, so at any rate, this week our goals are to review how to add photos to a Google Photo album. We're going to take some pictures of objects that look like letters this week. And then we're going to create a project using photopea to showcase the letters that you found for the photo hunt. And you're going to then take that image that you make in photopea and you're going to add it to your Google Photos. So, and one last thing I forgot to include, you're going to take your Google Photos album that we linked to your assignment for last week that I could see, but other students couldn't see it. So you're going to add that link to the All About Me class presentation. I'll demonstrate that. There we go. All right, we are going to have to get those pictures from your phone to Google Drive. So I have all the directions here for you. Let me move my head so that it is not in everyone's way. There we go. And so you're going to need the Google Drive app. This is it right here. And get your school account connected to it. That way, when you're logged into schoolwork, you can open up your Drive on your phone and you can move files over. When that app is open, you're going to press this plus button. Okay. When you press the plus button, by the way, you could go into a folder first. You could go into your media arts folder and press that button and it would already organize your photos for you. So that would be a great tip to do. You don't have to, but it's a good way to do it. All right. Then what you're going to do is you're going to choose upload after you've pressed plus. And then from that, you're going to choose photos and videos. Oh, let me go back a slide. All right, you're going to choose photos and videos, and then you choose the photos that you want. So I've got a couple pictures of the kittens that I was fostering, and actually I'm still fostering them. They're super cute. And I'm going to select those images, and then I'm going to hit that upload button in the upper right-hand corner. You can upload as many as you want at a time, and then when you do that, they all go into your account. So those pictures have now made it in. Now, the next thing is if you are using an iPhone, and an Apple computer. Some of you may have that. If so, I think AirDrop is a really convenient way to do it. Look at those cute kitties. So you just open up your photos, you select on them, you choose AirDrop from the bottom. Then any other Apple device that's nearby. My computer was nearby, so I was able to accept those photos. I hit accept. I choose save them to downloads. That way it's not going into my camera roll because I'm just going to use them right away. And then there, I was able to add these pictures of the kittens. Right there's Cordelia. And then we have, I think that's Hotspur and Puck. So I have 5 kittens right now. And yeah, super cute. These were 2 weeks ago when I first got them. Okay. If you are sharing your photos from a digital camera via a USB cable, which is generally the easiest way to do it, most digital cameras have a USB output. You can have the camera turned on with a cable connected. It's the smaller end of the cable, and then the larger end of the cable goes into the USB port of your computer or Chromebook, and you can copy files that way. You could also, maybe your folks have a card reader at home. See, it's got that same USB 2.0 connection. And then you can take the memory card, the SD card from your camera and put it in the slot here. You could do that. Sometimes computers, probably not the one that you have from school, but some of them might, if they're older, have an SD card reader that's full size here. I know that my kid's Chromebook has a micro SD reader. So if you had a micro SD adapter, you can actually put a micro SD card into a regular SD style card converter, use that in your camera, and then you could move them over. But either way, let me know at office hours if you're using a different device and you want help figuring out how to transfer them over. But the beauty of all this is you can go straight to Google Photos. All right, let's talk about the Alphabet Photo Hunt. If you took media arts last year in the fall, you definitely did the Alphabet Photo Hunt. If you took Intro to Photography with me in either the fall or the spring, you did the Alphabet Photo Hunt. And it was my first time, and I just figured, hey, let's go out and do the whole alphabet, which was a great idea. But I think that we focused on quantity over quality. So what I'm going to have you guys do is just find a few letters. As many as you can find is great. And you're going to try and find letters from the alphabet in everyday objects. Actual letters don't count. Just like the Eiffel Tower is not actually the letter A, it just looks like one. So don't go take a picture of the letter A printed somewhere. That would be cheating. All right, and find as many as you can. Practice focusing on objects so that the form stands out best from other objects in the frame. Since we're using photopea, we're going to be able to do some creative cropping, which is totally fine if you need to do that for some of your letters, but as many as possible. Just like the shield looks like an X, try and get as many close to that as possible. And I want you to think of uppercase and lowercase letters, so don't just be boxed in looking for lowercase or uppercase. And you need to find a minimum of 5 letters you can use on your photo hunt design to spell out a word or series of words, and use as many as you can find. So let's just experiment with that, and we'll see what happens. I'm not going to nitpick over how many exact number of letters, but the more you find, the more freedom you'll have in writing out words. And the word does not have to relate to photography or creation, or maybe you could make your name. It's totally up to you. See what you can find with some photos. So we're going to take some pictures creating letters. All right, then what you're going to do is you are going to go over to photopea.com. So all of my students last year did this. So if you're brand new to my class, this is where we're going to move a little quickly. And this is a complicated piece of software, but I think you'll figure it out. This is called Photopea. You go to photopea.com. And you're going to create a new project in Photopea so that you can try and spell something with the letters you found. You can crop the letters however you'd like to make them most noticeable or easiest to recognize the letter. I would give it a name like Photo Hunt or Alphabet or Photo Letter Writing, something that makes sense. It doesn't really matter what the dimensions are for this, although I'd probably make it something wider than it is tall, because if you're going to be writing words out, it's going to be easiest in that. But no limits around this. You can leave all the DPI and the background the same. It doesn't matter. That's not what today's activity is all about. And you're going to add the different images that you have that look like different letters to this workspace over here. And I will demonstrate some of it. I don't have my letters with me here in the studio, but I did make one at home. I will show you that. Maybe I'll time lapse it or something so you can see me adding all those. But I will add a couple pictures and I'll do all the same crops that you would need to do if it was the alphabet. So for every object that gets added, you drag it onto this canvas, and then it appears here as a layer under background. And whatever's listed highest up is what's on the top. So it's a layer-based editor. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to rasterize every object that goes in. So when you add an object, and I'll demonstrate this, you will then hit layer and rasterize, which is like sprinkling magic editor dust on it, so that you can make changes to it. So you will need to do that. And you're also going to remove some of the backgrounds of things. So just experiment with it. And you're going to have to select object and hit select and choose the inverse. I left an E off there. And then what is my last thing? You'll see. I'm going to demonstrate. Sorry, I've lost my letters. Okay. All right. So photopea, like I'm saying, is a layer-based editing tool. The layers that are listed at the top appear on the top of your design. You can drag them around to change the order. So when you drag them to the top, just like Media Arts logo is on top here, unnamed is below that, image processing is underneath that, and below that is my background. So all four of these things, the background including as an object, are stacked on top of each other, and I can change that order. And then I would see more or less or see depth, things like that. You can also select multiple layers by holding Command on a Mac and select multiple layers, and then you can make the adjustments all at once. So I could select all three of these, I'll demonstrate that, and then I could resize them all as one. So I will demonstrate that. But before we do, I want to thank you for getting this far in the video. And the way I'm going to thank you is that this week, you are going to fill out a Google form at the end of watching this video, and you're going to have to put in the secret word. So I learned this from Mrs. H, our choir and music teacher, and I think it works pretty nicely. So let me tell you what the secret word is. We're also going to do a secret word this week. The secret word is kosher pickles. I guess it's 2 words. Don't tell anybody. Kosher pickles. All right, so that's your secret word, actually 2 words, kosher pickles. So don't share that with anyone, just type it in on the form. If you answer kosher pickles as the word of the week, or the secret word, you will get full credit for this week's assignment. So it's that easy, everybody. It's that easy, kids. All you got to do is watch to win. So moving right along. All right. Customizing your photopea project and downloading the file. So you're going to add at least 5 things to it, 5 different letters to spell out something. You might do more. And then you can do all sorts of things to just experiment with photopea. And then you'll download it. But I'm going to demonstrate all this before we get into downloading it because we haven't even seen it yet. So let's get out of here for a second and go to photopea.com because this is where that's going to look. So I will put myself over the ads because you don't need to, you can ignore the ads that are over here. You don't need them. All right, here we go. Photopea, I'm going to make a new project. I'm going to call it alphabet design, something like that, because that's what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to choose YouTube cover because it's in about the right size dimensions. Like I said, doesn't really matter. You can leave DPI the same. We're not printing these. And just hit create. And now I have this nice wide canvas that I can put my images on. All right. I don't have my letters with me. Sorry. But I'll show you them. I'll show you what I wrote out. But I'm going to just demonstrate with these pictures that I took. So I downloaded them from my gallery. And as I add an image here, there's that picture from my gallery that is now in here. And you'll notice that it is above, let me slide down here. It is above my background. So because of that, you can see that it is going to be on top. And I can change the object of this, the size, by adjusting like that. If I hold shift, it stays in same dimensions, which is really convenient. Okay, I could make some crops to this, right? Now, you're not going to use the cropping tool. If you crop, it crops your entire design, including your background. So we're going to have to use our selection tool. So I would do a rectangular select. If I just want to crop just the deer, maybe the flowers. And now, hey, the deer is selected, but I haven't put my magic fairy dust on yet. So this is very important. With this object selected, I'm going to go to layer and I'm going to rasterize the layer. And now it's going to work. So if I hit delete right now, it is going to cut a square out of this. That's not what I want. So I want you to think about math. And when you think about Inverse fractions, right? The opposite. We're going to choose the inverse of this drawing. So now this is going to cut away every part of the picture except for what's in the box. So I'm going to do is select the inverse and then hit the delete key. And now it is a smaller image. So that's going to be how you're going to crop. That is one way. The line is still around it. You can see this little black dotted line. Here is very important. You can hit select, deselect, or command and D. I think it's control and D on your Chromebook. And then now magically, it's no longer selected, okay? So I still have my rectangle selection tool. And in photopea, all of these tools are what, before you can change things. If I want to move things around, I have to go back to my arrow. And now I can move my deer wherever I want, okay? All right, let me add some more things to it so you can start seeing multiple. So here's a picture of Potato Bob, my cat. Yes, that's right. My cat's named Potato Bob. You got a problem with it? My daughter named him almost instantly. We gave her the kitty and said, "What's his name?" She said, "Potato." No, wait, Potato Bob. Literally, that's how fast she named it without even realizing it. It was a surprise. So, Potato Bob. I call him the Bob Man or Spuds. He's an awesome cat. At any rate, he's going to get cropped. Now, let me show you that you might want to make some changes to this. Notice it's on top of my deer, so it's there. If I put the deer on top of it, when I go, it will slide. There we go. So I want the Bob Man on top. So here he is, but I'm going to cut him out a little bit differently because I don't want to cut him out in a rectangle. I can also cut him out with an ellipse. So I'm going to draw a circle around him. And then I can move that circle to make sure I have his ears all in there. Oh, that's perfect. All right, and then I'm going to do, remember the steps? That's right, I need to rasterize, layer, magic fairy dust, and then select inverse, delete, and now I have Bob looking a little better. Although it looks a little weird because he was in there, and I forgot to deselect. So I'm going to undo, and I'm going to try this again. And this time when I do it, I'm going to make it make more sense because that's kind of an ugly looking photo if I did it like that. Maybe I'll make it just smaller, and then I can move. Maybe, you know what, some of his ears are going to get trimmed for this. Such is life. Okay, so it's still rasterized, I think. Let me just double check. Layer, rasterize. Maybe it wasn't. And then now I'm going to select the inverse and delete, and now I have a smaller circle. Go back to my move tool. I can move it around. Oh, forgot to hit Command D to deselect. There we go. Now I've got this moving around, and I now have a circular object. If I hit Transform Controls, it brings up this little box here. And now look, by holding Shift, I can make it smaller. So if I wanted to put the head on the deer or whatever, right? So now I'm playing around with this, and I'm starting to make some objects. All right, so you're going to continue doing that with things, with all of your letters. I don't think I need to continue with any more. I will show you the finished product, but let me show you what I meant by controlling multiple things at once. If I hold down Control, or Command rather, Control probably on a Chromebook, and I select both of these are now together, that now when I make them larger, oh look, they grew together. That's pretty convenient, right? That's a nice feature. Much better than in Google Drawings where you have to group objects, right? This is just layer-based. You just collect them and then just make sure you click on it again to get them out. And now I'm just onto one object. I just have the deer and I'm good. There are lots of other things that you can play around with this. I'm going to let you experiment. Some things you might want to do. Maybe you want to try adding some text on top of the letters you're doing. If you wanted to do that, you would hit the letter T, and then you could draw in a box. And then in the box, you're going to probably make your font a little bit larger first so you can see it. And then as I type in something, see, there we go. The alphabet collage, right? Whatever you want to call it, I don't care. You can highlight it. This is just to see what the tools do, by the way. I spelled that wrong. Alphabet. The alphabet. That looks better. And I'm going to highlight all of my letters. And I can pick any font that I want. Ooh, that one looks nice. I like it. And then I can make it bigger by this slider. Right. Another thing I can do, if I just go to my move tool, it's now like that. And then I can resize it this way. So there are a number of things I can do. I can go into the effects panel of it, and I can change the stroke. And the stroke is the color around the outside. Notice that turned red. Actually, That looks pretty cool. I'll show you how to demonstrate. So as I make it thicker, that gets ridiculous. So you can kind of play around with how you want that. If I was to make it bigger, let me hit OK, so it's set. As I make this bigger, though, then the black percentage, I think actually that kind of adjusts it. So at any rate, then you move your things around however you want, and you have created a design. I guess one last thing that you might go ahead, if anyone wants to change their background, you can do that. What you would do for background is you're going to come to the paint can, and I'll do the paint bucket tool, and I'm going to click on background, and I think I have to unlock it maybe. And then now when I click here, I've changed the color. If I wanted to change that color to something else, ooh, it didn't work yet. I have to go back to the paint bucket tool, click there, and then I would change my color. Please don't make it Seahawk green. That makes me sad. Just kidding. Make it whatever color you like. But if I'm thinking about design, I'm thinking some sort of variation of gray is going to look really neat. Some silver maybe would look awesome. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to hit my paint bucket tool first, and then I'll change my color right to a gray, hit OK. There we go. That looks pretty neat. Should I drop shadow and show you other things? Why not? I like drop shadowing. If I go to my words, the alphabet collage, I could do effect, drop shadow. Ooh, very nice. I could do the same thing to the other things too. So at any rate, you're going to play around with this. We're going to get really good with photopea. It is our main image design tool. When you're finished with all of it, what you have to do is you're going to save it 2 ways. Most important step. If you don't save it this first way, you will never be able to work on this again. So you're going to hit File, Save as a PSD. Now it says Design PSD. This is important that you gave it a name, because otherwise, opening up again is going to be like untitled project or whatever, right? It's going to be weird. So that is that. This is a PSD. You could reopen it and change it at any time you want. But you can't put a PSD in your Google Photos gallery. So what you're going to do is you are going to export as a JPEG. Why not do it at full %? And then save. And now it goes straight to your downloads bar. And if you're doing it on Chromebook, it'll go into your files manager, or wherever that may be. And then from that, I could go to my album that you made last week. And you could go, right, here's Mr. Oliver's gallery. I'm going to add the design. Here we go. People are going to be confused when they see the deer and my cat and at Alphabet Design, but that's okay. All right. I will leave that in there for a little while just to demonstrate that that's what I did. Okay. All right. Let me go back to my slides to wrap things up, and we will call it a day. So you have all week to work on this. This week, you don't have to hand anything in. You just need to put your design in your gallery, and you need to put your link to your gallery. The last thing I'm going to show you is the link to your Meet the Intro to the Video class. So let's go back and just review one final thing. So we're making sure we have everything we need. Okay, so now that you have saved this, right? We saved it as a PSD so that you can work on it again. We also are going to export it as a JPEG so that we can put it in our gallery. And then now you have this. You can go back and work on it later if you wanted to, and you just want to get in the habit of saving an editable file. If you were using Photoshop on a computer, by the way, if you have Photoshop, feel free to use Photoshop instead of photopea, but it saves them as PSDs directly without this extra step. But since this is online and you can go and edit it anywhere, that's why it does that. All right, so that's it for those slides. And I want to demonstrate the final piece, which is on the Meet the Intro to Video class. What you're going to do is add a text box that says My Gallery. My Gallery. That's a gallert. I want a gallery. All right, and then I'm going to make it look nice. So it's going to be centered above my name. Good enough. And I'm going to highlight it. And I'm going to go to my album. So here is my Mr. Oliver's gallery. I'm going to hit this little button. This is a share button. And instead of inviting anyone to it, I'm going to copy the link and hit copy. Now I have that link on my clipboard. And when I go back to Meet the Intro to Video class, I'm going to hit the chain link button and I'm going to paste. Command and V. There you go. All right, now it's there. When you look at this gallery, others in the class are going to be able to come and see everyone's pictures that they've taken just by visiting their gallery. So you're going to have your name, your drawing, your video about your drawing, and your My Gallery link. So all of those things should be on that slide. This week, I'm just going to be looking at the survey you're going to fill out that has your word. I think I'm going to have you put your link to your gallery in the survey just for easiness of things too. So go ahead and fill out that survey. Remember, we have a secret word. I'm not telling you what it is because if you skip to the head to find the secret word, you're going to have to go back and watch it because you wouldn't have learned how to do all these amazing things and be the artist that you will become if you haven't done that. So I'm going to get out of here. All right. Well, there you go. Hopefully this all made sense. I'm going to head back to the porch. So let me walk on over there. Whew. Hey guys, I'm back. All right. Well, hopefully that all made sense to you. I really recommend that you pause the video and have photopea up in another window. Photopea can be really complicated, but it's totally fine if you don't do everything exactly as how I did it. I just want you to get comfortable using it because we're going to use that in order to create photography portfolios later. We're going to make some designs that we're going to use for Hair and TV, and it's really a handy program. So please, just try and do the best that you possibly can with it. Hopefully you had some fun taking some pictures. Hopefully you had some fun working with photopea. I'm available during office hours because I know a lot of this can be really confusing. So let me try and help you out. That's what I'm here for. So, by the way, last week some people thought I was in front of a green screen. My daughter said because the camera quality looked so good, it looked like you were standing in front of a green screen. I was actually on the Wilson River, and I'm actually in my backyard right now. Maybe next week I'll do a green screen video and try and fool you and see if you can tell, but it is what it is. All right, Herons, so as always, never stop creating, and I'll see you in the next video.